Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in central Scotland. Today's project is this gift bag that I made to hold a box of chocolates. It's big enough to hold a box of 12 green and blacks organic chocolates, but you could use it, you could make it to hold lots of other things, not just chocolates but stationery sets or makeup sets or just lots of different sweeties, or a nice pretty scarf or something like that. It's 4 inches wide, 9 inches tall and 1.5 inches deep once it's finished. I used the Share What You Love designer series paper, specialty designer series paper to make this, with the backing here made from Petal Pink, and I used the Love What You Do stamp set for the sentiment, and the ribbon at the top is the Petal Pink and Whisper White variegated ribbon. It's a fond farewell really to this DSP. It was launched last year as part of Stampin' Up's 30th birthday celebrations, because some of the sheets of paper in the set are pearlised. Do I have a piece that I could show you? I don't know if I do. Oh, hold on a second. No, I don't have a piece to hand, unfortunately. But I was drawn to this because when Stampin' Up had their 30th birthday last year, I had my 30th wedding anniversary and it's pearl, hence Stampin' Up pearlising some of the sheets of paper. So I'm really going to miss this when it goes, but I think I will stock up on it before it does go, just so that I can keep using it myself. So you will find this paper on page 188 of the annual catalogue, and I'll just let you see that if I can. This is it here. Really pretty. If you don't have it already and you do want it, then you'll need to be quick. And just putting that to the side and grabbing the spring summer catalogue, this is where you'll find the ribbon. It's 5/8 of an inch wide, and that's where you'll find it on page 11 of the spring summer catalogue. I also made a different box using the same papers, which is here. Same bag, completely different look, using the same papers, the same stamp set, but Granny Apple Green card for the background here, and the Granny Apple Green textured weave ribbon, I think that's called. Luckily the stamp set and this ribbon aren't retiring, they are carrying over, but the papers sadly are. So let's put these to the side and I will show you how I made it. But just very quickly actually, before I do, I'll just let you see the Granny Apple Green ribbon in the current annual catalogue. You'll find that on page 200, and this is it here. In this catalogue it comes in Granny Apple Green and Grey Granite. It is carrying on into the new catalogue, and they are introducing a third colour in that ribbon as well, and it's 1/2 inch thick. So get the catalogues out the way and I'll let you see how I made the bag. So you'll need a piece of designer series paper measuring 11.5 inches by 11 inches, 11.5 being the long side, and if you've got a directional paper you want to make sure that that's facing up and down the way, so you want to cut it the 11.5 length this way and the 11-inch side going down your pattern, if that makes sense. I'm just checking you're not getting any reflection from my lamp on this scoring board, because it can be quite annoying. And just to say, little Corrie here in the corner, obviously I'm called Corrie Paper Crafts, and that's after our late doggy. I changed my name when we lost her about 1.5 years ago, and although this little ornament of a Westie dog, because our Corrie was a Westie, features in all my photographs. Somebody recently asked me why she's not in the videos that I do, so that's why she's sitting in the corner here, and I'll try not to knock her out of the way as I'm crafting. So I'll move those bags out of the way as well. So on the long side of your designer series paper, as I say, make sure your pattern, if it is directional, is facing up and down the way like it was with this bag here. But it's not so important when you don't have a directional paper. It really doesn't matter unless it's a directional, the reverse side is going to be a directional paper, and you'll see it on the inside of your bag. If you're not too fussy, then you don't need to worry too much. If you are fussy about the pattern on the inside of your bag, then make sure again you cut it this way. So you want to score at ½ an inch, at 2 inches, at 6 inches, and at 7.5 inches, and then turn it clockwise and score at 1.5, and that's all the scoring done. So let's get the scoreboard out of the way without knocking the tripod. And all the waste that you have from a 12 by 12 sheet of paper that's all the waste you'll have. I probably won't use that, but I might use this part as a belly band for something, so I'm hanging on to them for now. So all you need to do once you've done your scoring is fold and burnish. This is, because it's a specialty designer series paper, it is really thick, so just be careful when you do fold it over and make sure that you don't go a little bit squint on the lines. And it's actually quite hard to see where my scores are, and just as you're folding and burnishing, just make sure you check that it's all straight as you go. Here's my next score line, and it is here. Just making sure that that's lined up properly before I do burnish. And then the last score line on this part is here, and then I'm just going to fold and burnish what will be the bottom of my bag. So there's not a lot of cutting involved in this bag either. All you're really going to do is remove this little, you've got I don't know how well you can see it on the bottom, you've got I don't think it's easy either way. You've got a long piece and then a square piece and then a long piece and then a square piece, and then this little rectangle in the bottom corner here. And I just want to remove that completely and just cut at an angle there, and at the top again cut a little wedge there, and then cut up these score lines here. I tend to remove the score line with what will be one of the inside flaps, so that the outer flaps that people will see on the bottom of the box have a nice straight edge to them. So if you can see that, this flap here has got straight edges, but the score line is actually still attached to what will be the inside flap, and I'm going to wedge those before I stick the bag together anyway, so the score lines will actually be gone. So on these small square pieces, as I said, that are going to be your flaps on the inside of the bag, you just want to cut a little wedge on either side of those. They don't have to be perfect, they don't have to be symmetrical, it's just enough to not stick out when you're popping your bag together. And that's all the cutting that you need to do. So in terms of sticking the bag together, what you want to do is put a piece of tape along this folded edge here, because this is the flap that's going to hold your bag together. So I'm actually going to turn this over a little bit to make it slightly easier, and then find my tearing tape, which I've put under a whole load of other stuff, and then I'm just going to add a piece of tearing tape all the way down beside that fold, not right on the fold because I don't want my tape flaps to stick out once the bag's stuck together. And again, get my trusty ruler and just cut that off at an angle. This little bit here overlaps a little bit, but I'll fold that over on itself when I'm going to put the bag together. And I'm going to add a little piece of tape to each of the inside flaps so that they are held down. You don't have to put a piece on the flaps on the inside the bag, but I always do because I don't like seeing them loose when you look on the inside of the bag. And this longer flap here, which is between these two tabs, is the one that's going to be the side, or the flap that we stick down last. So on the other side of that flap, and I hope I don't get my head underneath the camera, just to see near the edge, I want to put a piece of tape, and because it's a box of chocolates with a little bit of weight in them, I'm just going to add a second piece of tape here as well with my ruler again, just to get a straight edge. And that's all the tape that I need. So I'm just going to give these pieces here a bit of a burnish to make sure the tape's stuck down properly, and turning it round without bashing the camera, give that a little press as well. So because it's easier to lie it flat to put it together, which is what we're going to do, I'm going to turn it upside down for now, and I'm going to remove this piece of tape here. And again, like I said, just turn that bit back on itself so that it's not overlapping. And because the measurements are symmetrical measurements, you should be able to put the bag together lying it flat. Now, if you want to make these for Christmas, or I don't know, favour bags for birthday parties or something like that, you can actually make them in advance and just store them flat like this. You can get quite a few in a box or a bag, and then you can just make the rest up when you're ready to put the bags together. So all I need to do now is remove the tape from these side flaps here, and hopefully without bashing the tripod or the camera, because I'm very close, I'm just gonna make sure I hold it with my fingers and get those flaps stuck down, turn my bag round and just get my hand in there with my paper folder just to help those flaps to stick down. And then the last flap to stick down is coming backwards from the front of the bag, if that makes sense, which gives it a neater finish. And again, just pop that together like that, and that's the bag made. So you want to make sure that you find the back of your bag. I've got a slight overlap there, but I'm not going to worry too much about it just now. I'll trim that later. This gives you a nice flush fold at the front when you stick that tab down last, and then all I'm going to do at the top is squeeze the bag together, and it automatically just goes into that sort of shape, so it gives you a square shape in the bag and it starts to resist come a certain point. I didn't do anything to make it do that, but I quite like it. You could push the sides in if you want and make it more curved, but because it was made for a square box of chocolates, I'm quite happy with the way that looks. The chocolates did go slightly higher than that, but they fitted in no problem at all. And all I did, if I turn it around so that you can see, I got my 1/2 inch circle punch, and it's quite a squeeze to get this in. You've got to kind of push the paper together a little bit, and just putting the punch all the way down as far as you can, and just making sure that it's equal at both sides. I just gave that a good squeeze, and that's what made the holes for my ribbon to go through. Now what ribbon am I going to use for this? Here we are. I decided that I would use the burlap ribbon, so I'm going to cut a length of that. What I'm going to do is just pop that through and get an idea of how much I'll need to tie a bow. That's probably a little bit too much, but never mind. And I just pulled the ribbon a little bit so that I had a longer side, or a longer length coming through from the back, because rather than tying the bow right on the top of the bag, I wanted to tie the bow on the front of the bag so that the bow could be seen from the front rather than stuck on the top of the bag. I'm hoping that this will tie straight. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I'm not going to fiddle with that too much. Just make the loops a little bit smaller. I'm quite happy with that. I'm not going to fiddle too much, and just cutting that at an angle and that at an angle. That's my ribbon, and all I need to do now is the stamping for the sentiment. So it does fray a little bit, so you do get a few little fringes. So putting that to the side and letting Corey look after it, I used the Love What You Do stamp set, and I have used, and I've already mounted I'm Lucky to Have a Friend Like You onto a clear block here, and I've also used these flowers here for part of it too, and I've already got them mounted on a block as well. And Mint Macaron is the green that's in the background on this bag, so I'm going to do my stamping in Mint Macaron. And all I'm going to do is grab, now I'm wondering, I think instead of white, I think I'll use a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock actually, because there isn't any white in this bag. So what have I done? I did have a scrap of Very Vanilla a minute ago and I've lost it. Bear with me because I now can't find it. Oh. What have I done with it? It has to be here somewhere. Definitely has to be here somewhere. Bear with me, I'm going to have to go and look for it, so I'm just going to pause the video just now. Apologies again. Oh, it's the day for it, honestly. My camera then decided to switch itself off randomly. I have no idea why. So I was just in the middle of stamping the sentiment for the tag on the front. So all I did was I inked my flower stamp up with the Mint Macaron and stamped it straight onto the card, and then stamped it a second time to get some lighter flowers. Probably lighter than I would have liked, but I do need to re-ink my stamp pad. But you know, I've had this since it was in the catalogue, 3 years ago, and this is the first time I've had to re-ink it. Our stamp pads are so good, and that's it, only just needing re-inked after all that time, which I think is really quite impressive. So I'll move that out of the way, and I'm going to try and get the big shot into the video. I'm not sure how we'll manage that, and you might struggle a little bit because my desk isn't that big, because I used the stitched shapes framelits to cut out this square and the coloured card for the background. So I've already cut a piece of Mint Macaron card with the largest square in the set. Here they are, here the stitch shaped framelits dies. You've got let me see, you've got circles and ovals, and you've also got squares, and a sneaky peek actually of some washi tape that's coming in the new catalogue, which I've used to hold my square shapes, and this is the set there's 3 tapes in the set, and I really like this because it's got the Stampin' Up logo on it. So I've used it to hold down my squares because they're all falling off. So the largest square is the one that I used to cut out my coloured card, which I've already done, but I will show you how I cut out my sentiment using the next again size. And I'll just pop all these over to the side just now, and hopefully without shaking the camera or the tripod too much, I'll just grab my Big Shot and try and get it, oopsie daisy, try and get it in shot as much as I can, but it's not fabulous. I don't have a lot of room, so let me just let me move it over. I'm just making a mess now, aren't I? Everything's moving. I've just not got a lot of room, so I'll pop my card in, hopefully you can see that, and put my square over it, and I'm just making sure that I don't have an awful lot of empty space at the top here, and I'm just trying to make sure it's equal at both sides here, but get as much of the flowers in as I can. And I think that's straight, but I'm not looking from directly above, so hopefully that's straight enough to be able to use. And then the cracking and the thumping is normal, and because I've not got enough room to pull that out from the back, I'm just going to bring it back through. So let's just take that off and get the Big Shot out of the way again. Oh, they're not that light either, Big Shots, I have to say. So what we've got is this, and I'm just going to mount that with some glue onto my mint macaron card. Right, let's put this away before we lose it though, Karen, because you've already lost a piece of card, which is not a real problem, but losing one of these dies would upset me. I'll pop them back into their packet later, but at least I know where that is. So I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue just to put a little bit on the back of here. You don't need a lot. And stick that onto my mint macaron background and try and make sure it's straight with an even border all the way around. Again, I'm not looking directly above or from directly above, so I'm hoping that that's straight. Yeah, that'll do. And then on the back of here, I'm going to just pop some dimensionals. So one in each corner. Don't put them right in the corner so that they don't show out of the sides of your card once it's stuck to the bag. Just keep them in a little bit. Take the backing off of these, which isn't always easy either. Come on. Some come off, no bother. And then all I'm going to do is bring my bag back in and pop this roughly here, and that's my bag made. So I really like that. I hope you do too. And here are my other 2 bags as well, just to remind you how many different looks you can get with one suite. So hopefully you can see all of those in shot because I've moved things around quite a bit. And that's my bag. So thanks for watching. Catch you soon. Take care. Bye bye. Just adding a little bit onto the end of this video. Did anybody spot my deliberate mistake? I didn't add my artisan pearls on, but I have now. And I did the mint macaron ones. I don't know if you can see those sparkling or not. The light's not fabulous. This is them here. So I hope you noticed, and I hope you've noticed that I added them on at the end. Thanks again, bye bye.